Alright, we should be live. I see the video.
All right, let me hop over to our channel.
Do you need the link or you got it?
I got it. It's fine. Yep, Dead Space Remake Part 2. There we go. That's the best part of every stream is that it starts with us figuring out the AV.
There's gotta be a way to do that without being live, and I don't know what it is.
No, no one has ever done that. That's every stream I see inexplicably has that at the start. All right.
Alright, we are
Fire this
blasting.
bad boy up.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Let's go save your wife, who's definitely still alive.
Can you stop spoiling games before like an hour through that?
We haven't. Nothing was spoiled. You just gave it away.
Oh, I gave it away.
Yeah, because the whole premise of the game is you're trying to find your wife, and I said she's definitely still alive. That could mean anything.
I also think that they're not married.
And then you were like, "Oh, it's spoiled," and it's like, "Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks, guy."
Oh well,
Now
we did that
everyone
whole.
knows.
We did the medical wing, huh? I also spoiled it at the end of the last stream.
Yeah. Did we do the medical wing? I don't know, man.
Yeah. That.
If you
tells me
played in
not to-
between last time and this one, I couldn't tell you.
No. We got the we fought the moth thing. We got the captain rig. That's
Yeah.
the morgue.
Sure. I mean, look, I'm paying attention, but I'm also painting this sick Night Lord's Rhino.
Hell yeah, brother. Another
He's
one?
almost done. Yeah, I have two that I'm painting for the event. So this second one basically looks a lot like the first one, except it has a couple of extra pieces of flesh draped over it.
Are you gonna do the same freehand or different freehand?
Same freehand, and I already finished it.
Ooh, this guy.
Yeah, because I wanted to, because the freehand symbol of the right facing skull with the bat wing is the specific warband marking of the warband, who are the Crimson Wing.
Hell yeah. Okay, I dig it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't normally go hard on the lore of my guys, but this time
It's
I'm
the
putting
grand
a
narrative
little
that
bit
you
of extra
gotta-
sauce. Yeah.
Alright. Oh, so I got like roasted by JD after our last stream.
I know, for wasting all that ammo.
Yeah, so he said, "Why do you suck so bad?" I died once, and I died in a place that everyone
Huh?
dies when you're playing on
Yeah.
hardcore.
Yeah, it's totally a reasonable thing, and he's still right.
So I'm curious how mad he's gonna be that I bought that power cell for 10k. I don't know what the Dead Space etiquette is supposed to be for that.
See, I would have just hit JD back on the axis of him having a family and kids and been like, JD, you don't even have time to play video games anymore.
Yeah, it's not like a dig though.
I mean, it's not a dig, but it will still hit him in a place that hurts.
Oh,
And
I
that's
see.
the important
Just
part.
trying to cause damage.
Yeah, exactly. Because deep down, every 40-something dad laments the fact that they're no longer able to just play whatever they want, whenever they want.
Security reporting retrieved.
Like, still love my family and all that, don't get me wrong. But I do miss the number of times I could just spend all day sitting on the couch playing video games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, that's
I can
still
see that.
that's still a regular fixture in your life. So man, don't be like, yeah, I know
No,
what you mean.
I said, yeah, I could see that. I said, that makes sense. I'm agreeing with
Right.
you. Fuck off. Yeah, Andrew, we were talking about it earlier. He was posted in chat, but he flopped with Canis tonight. He doesn't know how to play knights.
How do you flop with Canis? That dude, every part of him does like 4 damage.
Aha, but you see, he has a fatal flaw of having a 3-up save.
Entering zero gravity.
So if he
So?
gets charged without, so he has no invulnerable melee, obviously. If he gets charged by a significant melee threat, like that to reroll wounds or whatever, he's done.
I would simply not get charged.
Yeah, that's the flub, isn't it?
Yeah, like I mean, you have a whole army of shit. Just don't get charged with Canis.
Okay, yeah, I was right. We just finished chapter 2. Isn't there a guy who tries to kill me here? This is one of the sections I think that like got massively expanded in the remake, like this room specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, they do a little bit more with the zero G spaces, which is good.
Yeah, it controls way better in this one.
Yes. It also just wasn't like an overdone mechanic the first time around. It had a little bit more meat on the bone.
I do love these sections.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah.
And I think they're really important to the game atmospherically. Like, if you didn't have them, I think you need the zero gravity and the no oxygen bits to really sell the aspect of being on a spaceship.
Well, it's also like you can't call it dead space without
Right.
like these kinds of sections.
It would just be sparkling Resident Evil.
Exactly. And yeah, I love that the sections like have very little audio outside the music.
Oh yeah, it's perfect vibes for it. That, and then also the timer.
Yeah.
Like counting down your oxygen is great. It gives you a wonderful little bit of additional Sonic the Hedgehog style anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Entire generation's traumatized by that running out of oxygen tune.
Yeah, I cannot think of it off the top of my head, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun, dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm there. We're back.
It just keeps speeding up. Like, oh god!
I have never played a Sonic game I enjoyed.
Really?
That's my gaming toxic trait.
That is horrible. The original, the first 3.5 Genesis games, like Sonic through Sonic and Knuckles, have some of the best, tightest 2D platforming of any game ever.
I just don't like it.
It's fine if you don't like it. It's still brilliant and well designed.
I didn't say it wasn't.
And also, you're wrong for not liking it, but
There it
that's
is.
fine. Look, sometimes I acknowledge there are things that are good that I don't like.
And sometimes I do it and then I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, because the ones that you pick are weird and off-putting. And Sonic 2 is really great. I think if you take Sonic 3 and Knuckles as a whole, it's hard to argue against that as the superior game. But Sonic 2, just such a tightly well-designed game, start to finish as a platformer. And I like that it's no frills. Like, at the same time, the Mario series was getting like really expansive with its like world concepts. It was losing a little bit of like the simplicity that it needed.
What Mario were they up to when Sonic came out?
When the original Sonic came out, they were on Mario 3, and then Sonic 2, like in between Sonic and Sonic 2, you had Super Mario Brothers.
Engineering log.
When did World?
Acting Chief Engineer Jacob.
91 in the U.S. I want to say 89 or 90 in Japan.
It's all falling apart since the captain died. Everyone down here is
And I believe Sonic the Hedgehog was,
the rioting was the worst of it.
I want to say like either 88 or 89 in the 91.
Fuck, those were my lunch buddies. Listen, French.
That one was interesting because by that point, Sega was regularly putting out games in the U.S. at the same time or earlier than in the U.S. or than in Japan, because the U.S. development team, like the console, just did fantastically well in the U.S. And a lot of the strategy was driven by that U.S. team, who had done a fantastic job marketing it.
Fast as you can, Isaac.
But later on, that would be a total disaster. Oh, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 92 for Sonic 2.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if it's competing with World, like World is a game I really love.
They're just
World
different.
Is very well done.
They're just different games. Like,
it's
yeah,
fair.
World's very well done. I like World a lot, but like, it doesn't. So, Sonic 2 has a much simpler design and is like I think so. Like one of the things I like about Sonic 2 that I think is just wildly different is that Sonic 2 is a speed running game.
Right.
And like a very early, like, yeah, you would speedrun this game because it is designed for that. But it's still kind of packed with secrets, but it's not as complex or as sprawling as Super Mario World, and you're not really meant to play Super Mario World in one sitting, which is why it has the save feature. But by that same token, like, my son, who is 8, like, he can play Sonic 2 and sit down and play it and have fun with it. And Super Mario World, like, the mechanics of moving and flying with the cape are still well beyond him.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. I just got the Ripper.
And like, yeah, don't get me wrong. I think Mario 3 is one of the greatest games of all time, and a top 5, like, in the pantheon of games.
Yeah.
But I think Sonic 2 especially has like a lot to offer. But it's a different type of game. Like, it's not doing that open world thing. But I don't think games need to be that big or expansive to be great.
Definitely. Yeah, agreed. Did I get the SP2? Yeah, fuck it. Just max out the plasma cutter. I know what I'm about.
Also, Brett is right. The music in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is fantastic.
That I do know.
And 3. 3 actually has a much better soundtrack, but only the original, which has the tracks from Michael Jackson's collaborator, which are just some banger tracks.
Autopsy report, Dr. Nicole Brennan.
Yeah, wild that he did that.
Identified the subject.
Yeah, it was really well. So there's a YouTube video on it, by the way. A guy finally did all the digging and got the interviews that no one else had gotten, and this happened like 2 or 3 years ago. It was pretty late.
Yeah, because it wasn't like confirmed that was the case. Like
It was
right?
Right. It was reported early on. Well, so Michael Jackson apparently was in talks with Sega to work on Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but then ended up not liking after the Moonraker game. But then ended up not Moonraker, Moonwalker game. But then ended up not liking the Genesis sound tools because whereas the Super Nintendo uses like sampling, the Genesis is like the NES, and then it has its own like chip tune set. So you're making music in a fundamentally different way. Rather than using samples and MIDI instruments, you've got your own sounds coming out of the Genesis, which has that distinctly like blank kind of sound to it.
Right.
So Jackson ended up not really liking that, and then, but one of his key collaborators and producers, a guy he worked with, like, he had a bunch of stuff that he did for the game that ended up not like it didn't officially make it in. But they ended up using tracks from it or samples from it to do tracks in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and those made it into the final game. And they are banger tracks because it includes Ice Cap Zone, which is one of the best video game tracks of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And those all end up when you play the games now, those are all removed from those soundtracks because they all use samples from other songs that are owned by either Jackson or his collaborator.
Neat.
And they shouldn't have made it into the final game, but they did. There's a really great video on it that talks about like the history of it all and how that happened. And the guy did a fantastic amount of legwork, piecing it all together and getting it handled.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's something that I've always... It's one of those, like... I don't know how to describe it. Like, storied rumors, like, in video games for, like, development.
Sure.
That, like, was never really confirmed. But it's cool to have it all there now.
Yeah.
Security required.
It's wild how prevalent those used to be and like how many of them ended up being true. Like for a long time it was like, oh yeah, Robin Williams is a big Zelda fan. It's like then they confirmed that with like a commercial.
Right.
I remember when it was apocryphal that like Vin Diesel was a big Dungeons and Dragons guy, and then he ended up doing the foreword in the 4th edition Dungeon Master gun. And it's like, oh cool.
Oh, did he really? That's very cool.
Oh yeah.
Didn't know that.
It was yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the 4th edition DMG or Player's Handbook, but Vin Diesel did the foreword on it because he was a big Dungeons and Dragons guy. It's one of those things where it's like it makes total sense that all these theater kids, like it's you don't think of them as theater kids because they're action heroes and Vin Diesel can bench press 600 pounds or whatever.
Right.
But the reality is they're just a bunch of fucking theater kids.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they all play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it tracks. That's a good way to put it. Where am I? It's happening.
And then yeah, Remake agree. I agree. Both of the Sonic CD soundtracks are fantastic. Both the original Japanese New Jack Swing soundtrack and the American version is also fantastic, just in a different way. It's a weird example of a game having a completely different soundtrack for the American audience that is still absolutely chock full of bangers. And I usually alternate between them when I play. The Sonic CD is like, I actually get the feeling Norman would like it more, just because it has much more of a exploration, like slower gameplay vibe.
Okay, yeah, that is my big gripe. Is I don't like.
1, 2, 3.
I don't like how like rushed everything feels. Not like rushed in the sense of like quality or even like time limit or whatever. It just feels like I meant to not engage with most of the game.
You gotta go fast. That's the whole point.
I know. I
Yeah. It's an interesting. No, I know what you mean. It's an interesting dichotomy because they do put a lot of work and effort into the stages, and then they're over in like a minute and a half.
Exactly. Yeah.
Though I will say that Sonic 3 and Knuckles fixes a lot of that by giving you the Knuckles and Tails routes, which are much more deliberate and slower paced because of how they're laid out and because of the characters.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll check it out at some point. I don't know when, but it's definitely a gap in my gaming knowledge, career, whatever. All right, the throw-up ones, great.
Yeah, we did it. We made it.
Again, they've got to stop ambushing me in the like ship fuel factory. All right, you know what? It worked out for them.
Yeah.
You know what? Points to the Necromorphs. I'll give it this one to them. I don't know where all my health
You, in
went.
fact, gotta hand it to them.
I don't know where all my health went. I went into the sequence with most of my health. Maybe the vomit? Just did a bunch of damage I didn't notice. Okay. Big deal. Renrick? No.
No, yeah, no, absolutely not. No one who's promising to be very normal about Sonic the Hedgehog is allowed to be on a stream about Sonic the Hedgehog. Absolutely. It's the biggest, it's the most maroon flag you could have brought up.
Oh, really? It's 2?
That one's throwing up on
Yeah,
pretty hard.
Sucks. There we go. No. Yes. No. Yes. That's what JD's talking about, where I waste all my fucking ammo. I should just be using kinesis like that.
Yeah, you should. JD
Yeah.
was right.
But I'm fine. Ammo's not the issue.
No, it's more just the way you present to the entire, internet at large.
Well, I don't even know that's an issue.
It's
Per
fine.
se.
They probably don't care.
We just wasted an hour fixing
I do wonder if people have been noticing that I keep using healing packs by accident.
Turn off the power
It has not stopped happening.
Just a regular occurrence. You just get if you watch Norman play, you're gonna watch him accidentally mash the heal button over and over.
It's not my fault they moved like menu buttons to face buttons in recent years.
I gotta tell you, that was the one thing that like really got me when I was playing, switching from Elden Ring to any other game. Elden Ring has such a like wildly unique control scheme for some of that stuff that whenever I went to any other game, I was randomly healing, not hitting the right buttons to dodge. Especially with Tears of the Kingdom.
That makes sense, yeah. And they're like similar enough in that like
Yeah.
to a very similar groove.
Yeah, exactly. God, I very much do not know how to feel about Tears of the Kingdom.
I enjoyed it enough for what it was.
Yeah, it's funny. I loved going back to the world, and I love the way they expanded it. But then, like, yeah, I don't know. I loved it for what it was, and I loved exploring the world. I just wished it had a better story.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not like, that's not what I'm there for, I guess.
I don't think they know I'm here.
It's a Zelda game. I could be there for the story and the world.
I'll
Right.
get myself admin privileges.
Plus, like,
Maybe I can help.
it felt like I had already done the just exploring lonely stuff in the first game.
Sure, but I mean, it is a sequel. Like, you're gonna get
It
more
is,
of that.
but like my point is like there were two things I felt they really needed to do with the sequel, and the first was like better dungeons, which we got. The dungeons absolutely rip. Well, mostly they're a huge improvement over the first game anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then give me a little bit more meat on that story bone. You know, I know the world now. I've seen the world. Put more stuff in it. You know.
Right.
And that was the part where I felt like, they didn't quite deliver on that one bit. Which isn't, the end of the world. I still love the game, so I thought it was fantastic, but it definitely stopped it from being better than Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. I mean, like, for me, it was just an extension of Breath of the Wild. It was as if I went back to go play Breath of the Wild again, right?
Yeah.
Which is
I don't know,
different
it's-
this time.
Yeah, it's tough to go back and play Breath of the Wild after that because there's so much stuff you get used to having.
For sure. I can see that.
And also, there are just some legitimately great spots, like trying to explore like the Thundercloud dungeon.
Yeah,
It's
finding
just
that by
really
accident
cool.
was a great moment.
Yeah,
Okay, I've got a few over here.
that I think is like my favorite part of that game. Is there's so much stuff you can like discover by accident or get into backwards,
Yep.
Move fast, guys.
and it makes it like so rewarding and challenging to do.
Yeah, it's very like Souls-like in that regard, where like Souls has very similar stuff, where there are entire zones you can just find by accident. And when you do, it feels really, really good.
Yeah. Though, like with Souls, it also feels like it ruins a little bit of the story aspect of it.
How do you mean?
Well, like, so for example, that Thundercloud dungeon is a big part of the extra companion.
Oh, like the end game stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, and the extra companion quest.
Right.
And so I had stalled out on that one because there was like I didn't know how to get one of like the photographs you needed to get of a plate, and so I just ended up doing that and finishing that dungeon and then bypassing that piece, and that felt kind of lame.
Yeah, no, I hit the end of the game, and I got a lot of dialogue that was like, oh, you did this already? Great. Like,
Yeah.
but one thing that the Souls games do that's really nice with those sections is they're almost, I'm trying to think through, I think they're always ancillary, like, background information that answers, like, a nagging question that, like, the rest of the game sets up.
Yeah.
So, like, with Shadow of the Erd Tree, right, like, there's that extra area where you find Mariko's, like, town. And it clears up a lot, knowing, like, there's the town, there's the first Erd Tree, there's the band for whatever their rituals, whatever, and it gives you, like, a full understanding of, like, oh, she's from the Shaman tribe, and that's why everything in Elden Ring is the way it is.
I mean, honestly, it recontextualizes the entire game.
Yeah.
It's, in fact, I think it's kind of a, like, it's not a miss that you can miss it, but to me, it's like, that's the core of the DLC right there more than anything else, is discovering the secrets of America's past.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? People who care about that stuff will find that section. People who are just along for the ride probably, like, it's hit or miss whether they will.
Yeah, I think Elden Ring does a disservice in that regard, because, like, if you're just along for the ride, it's possible you go through that and don't even realize that was America's deal.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Elden Ring doesn't quite. I think it's not that they hide too much stuff. It's that they needed like 20% more dialogue in my estimation. There's
That's
a little
fair.
bit. They rely a little too much on having to read the item descriptions, and it's like I really feel like there could have been like a few more conversations with key NPCs, and that in turn would have like fleshed those out a little bit more. It feels like there's a lot of stuff that only got 80% of the way there in Elden Ring, which, you know, for as good as the game is, that's phenomenal. That's that. But like then you look at stuff like, oh, there's a huge amount of cut content around like the nomads and like what happened with Vike, and
Yeah.
there's a huge and so there's a lot of stuff where I look at that and I'm like, yeah, there probably needed to be a little bit more on some of these angles, or a little bit more of this that was like more NPC interaction. And I think that one of the cool things Shadows of the Erdtree does is it gives you way more NPC interaction with friendly NPCs who are all ostensibly like on your team, and it really feels like you're working. It feels more like not really as much, but it feels more like you're working with them and collaborating a bit, especially because they all show up in different boss fights and summons and stuff, which is cool. And when you know the rune is broken and they all lose faith, like that's an interesting moment. That said, it's also possible just to miss all that, and I'm always like, I get it, you want it to be missable, but it also feels like a huge, like, if a player does miss it, it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's if a player wants to miss it and can, that's fine, but if a player doesn't want to miss it and does it inadvertently, that's where I feel like things fall down, where it's like, oh, I didn't talk to Tiolier at this moment before the rune broke, so I can just never find out his deal.
Yeah, I mean that's always a thing in Souls games. It's always a point where it's a thing. I think the game that handles it the best is probably Bloodborne. I feel like most of the people I know who played Bloodborne walked away from it knowing what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
The game is just so good. I adore that game. I really want to go back to it.
Bloodborne is fantastic. I agree.
Yeah. Hopefully it comes out on PC, because I am not plugging my PS4 back in. Yeah, Bloodborne does a really good job of it. Dark Souls 3, I feel like it gets too muddy. It's too focused on less what's going on right now and what was happening before, like all that world building. DS2 was the first time they really focused on like the story itself. There's a lot going on with your character and what you're doing. And then like 1 and Demon Souls, they're still trying to figure out their whole deal. It's a little early to really judge them fairly.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I mean, like Dark Souls 1 is like half of a game. It's a really good half of a game, but it is one half of one game. The game kind of ends when you hit like Anarlock, and then you have to. Then there's like 10-ish hours of gameplay, depending on if it's your first playthrough or not. Anywhere from 20 minutes to 10 hours.
Just ballparks.
Well, so that's the thing. Like Dark Souls is one of those games where if you know what you're doing, you will fly right through it.
Sure.
It is not particularly large. It banks a lot on you dying and trying zones over.
Sure.
If you know what you're doing, you can just do it.
Contamination sequence complete.
Renrick, it's not so bad. You just shoot the babies and then you shoot the other guy and you're good to go. especially when you fully upgrade your plasma cutter and you just one-shot stuff. It's crazy how good this gun is. I'll never get over it.
Hmm?
It like never falls off.
It's also just a triumph of gun design,
Yeah.
like, and game design in that regard. Like, it's on par with the portal gun and the gravity gun, in my opinion. And like the Lancer in Gears of War. God,
Yeah.
what a great fucking
What
weapon.
a gun. Yeah. When 3 came out and they introduced like the retro Lancer, that was like the dream for me. It was like, oh, it's a slower firing, more powerful Lancer. Like, hey, perfect. All right, I'm good to go.
Yeah, but it didn't have the chainsaw.
Yeah, but you had the bayonet.
The bayonet was cool, but it wasn't a chainsaw. There's something wonderful about playing Gears multiplayer with the Lancer and being the last person alive on your team and like hunting the enemy down, and like you see the other people on that team, and like when you're in that situation, you just hear a chainsaw rev. You're like, oh shit! It's like the closest you get to be a slasher movie villain, and the feeling of like what that's like.
And then you just see a guy wall bouncing towards you with a masher, and you know you're fucking dead already.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Oh, this room I die a lot. Not because of any enemies, mind you, but because of the engine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll prepare JD now. Just like turn off the stream and fast forward like 20 minutes. How do I activate the sensor? Match clutch generators can restart from. Alright, how do I do that?
See, that's your problem. You got a bunch of dead bodies coming up the center. See that a lot, you know, in these big planet crackers.
Generator module attached.
It is crazy that this game's super pro fracking.
All personnel clear for centrifuge restart.
Or I guess anti, depends how you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could be seen as a cautionary tale. Also, that's an interesting one, right? Like, what are the ethics of breaking apart an uninhabited planet in its entirety to build, like, your next space gas station?
I think it's probably fine, right? There's a lot of them.
Yeah, you know what? That's fine.
I'm glad we got there.
Centrifuge activated. Re-establishing balance with tectonic load.
Alright, here we go.
No, Renrick, as always, the enemy is capitalism.
No, I think it's the guys with swords for arms. I think capitalism is like an enabler.
They're a
of that
metaphor for capitalism.
Oh, that's right. It turns on the gravity but turns off the air. Great. I love that
Yeah.
for me.
And don't forget to get more oxygen in your tank there.
I got it. Okay.
Looks like the centrifuge is back online.
Yeah,
All that's
sure
left
is,
is
bud.
restarting the engines, right? Ready when you are.
Yeah, don't get completely murked by
I'm
that.
about to die. I
spinning
thought there was an
centrifuge.
alcove somewhere around here. I guess there isn't.
Oh no, no, no.
See, I told you. I always die in this section. I think it's always the same thing, too. I think I always am like, yeah, I run through, find the alcove, and I go into it, like video games are.
Yeah, fine. Bada bing, bada boom, I'm done.
Instead, I walk straight past the elevator and get lost. I think you go opposite in Centrifuge, which makes sense, I guess.
I mean, maybe. We're going to find out that that's also wrong.
Yeah, just like I'm supposed to go in a completely different
All
direction.
that's left is restarting engines, right? Ready when you are.
No, it was opposite. Look at that. The whole time.
Yeah, there's a necromorph in one of these, and he pops out and kills me. There he is. Excuse me, sir.
Just run away and let him get murdered.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, joke's on you. There's another necromorph.
There sure is. Alright, for another pass.
I had someone message me today about doing a special thing at the narrative.
Ooh, okay.
Apparently, some of the Imperium Dark Angels players, like one of them, is putting together like a Hunt the Fallen type thing.
Oh, fun.
Where encouraging players to bring Fallen in their army.
Mm-hmm.
It's neat.
What are you gonna
I
do
like
for it? Just like a character?
Yeah, I'll just do a regular guy. I did it last year. I had a Fallen guy. I had 2 Fallen guys in my Black Legion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when I play Dark Angels, I'm like, yeah, if you're doing Hunt the Fallen, there you go. But I only played one Dark Angels player, and he wasn't really using the Crusade stuff. So it was like, wah, wah.
Oh, right, these things. I completely forgot these were in the game.
Oh yeah, you're gonna want to shoot those big orange parts. The glowing ones.
It's a biological adaptation to tell you where to shoot.
I just assume that they're like cancerous growths or something.
That's probably what they're supposed to be, but like, it's weird that everyone has them.
I mean, everyone in real life has some form of cancer at some point.
Yeah, but they don't glow. They're not like a big glowy weak spot. You can't like Z-target someone's tumor and then...
Okay, but if you could, it would be a weak spot.
Yes, it wouldn't be great.
You shot me in the tumor.
Or is that good? I actually don't know.
I don't think it's good. I mean, oh, you shot me in my brain tumor doesn't make it better.
I don't think I have any parasols. I should look at what my healing situation is before I use... Yeah, I think that was a large health pack I just used for one node. Good. Great. I think if you get shot in the brain tumor, you're still getting shot in the brain. Like, still.
Yeah, there's no way you get shot in the brain and it's not like it deflects off your tumor and saves your brain.
Got it. Isaac, fuel storage is unlocked. It'll give you access to the engine chamber.
Right. Thank God for this like little floor nav thing. This is why it's my favorite horror game. It's so easy not to get lost.
You're so incredibly fucking hopeless.
I know, right?
Hey,
Pretty
Hammond,
cool, right?
I cracked the secure files. DC was here for more than just the mining claim, huh?
What do you mean?
This outbreak started on the colony after the miners dug up some artifacts. Something ancient.
With the way the game builds up the colony, I thought you were going to spend way more time
to be
there.
off limits, right? First us orders. When the miners found the artifacts,
Oh, yeah.
paranoia, suicide. But the Ishimura brought this marker on board anyway. But that was the plan.
I mean, I don't know. The ship was always the main character to me.
Where's this marker
Right.
now?
No, definitely. I don't know. It's like, you're on the colony for like 20 minutes. I thought it was going to be like a 2 hours.
I mean, I'm glad it's not. The more the game is really good.
It's so loud. Why is it so loud?
There's a whole second.
Oh, good. A worthless gun. I love it.
Mhm.
I think you have to use it.
Which gun did you pick up?
The flamethrower.
Oh yeah, no, it's good.
Oh no, you just walked through. Okay. You see, this is one of those game dev things that, like, I don't know, it's like kind of ruined video games for me in a way. Where whenever a camera does this and these kind of sections are happening, I know I can't get hurt, so I'm less scared, which is the opposite of what the sequence is supposed to be doing.
No, that's not true. The sequence is supposed to be masking.
Well, that's true too.
Like it's doing the number one thing it needs to do, which is stop you from looking at a screen that says loading.
That's fair.
And it doesn't matter if it's here or in God of War. Like you're not afraid of getting hit in load screens either, but this is a much better way to handle all of that.
That's fair.
Though there is notably that one Resident Evil, I think it's in Resident Evil 2 or 3, there's a spot where you open a door and it shows zombies come through in the door open animation, and then it keeps you in the same room just with zombies in front of you. And it's a fun little moment, but also it's like, that's only going to happen once.
And then I'm finding Elizabeth and getting us the hell off this ship.
Yeah, Renrick, like, it's fine. It's just not a plasma cutter or a line gun. Where's my line gun? I feel like I should have it by now.
Yeah, it feels like you missed the line gun.
I couldn't tell you when I get it. You get it like much earlier, I think. Which might be what I'm confusing it with.
Yeah, possibly, though. I thought you got it earlier in this, but maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like the mine layer is a pretty good weapon, too. But it's more useful when you go up against those stupid bird things.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, stick your head out, come at me.
No, I was like a normal guy. I shouldn't have set him on fire. That's an echo. Yeah, see, Renrick, it's not that good. Yeah, I think you're right. The line gun may be an extra comic. Contact beam is great. Love the contact beam.
Man, I'm building...
Oh, right, these guys. Shit. Go on.
I've got to build an army for a teams event in December, and it's looking like I'm going to be playing Death Guard. And I feel like I have to build 12 more Death Shroud for it.
Really? Death Shroud?
Well, Death Shroud took a points decrease, and running 18 is very good, especially in teams. Because if you run the 18 Death Shroud with Typhus and 2 Terminator Sorcerers. And so Typhus gives you -1 to be hit, Terminator Sorcerers give you -1 damage in melee. And then you run 4 units of Plague Marines, so it's all infantry with a couple of rhinos. And it is just impossible to remove in melee. So you match into like all the World Eaters and Drukhari and all that stuff.
I might have to start playing that list.
It just won an event this past week.
Singles event or teams?
Singles.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want out of Death Guard.
Yeah, and to Renrick's point, you can take Skull Squirm Flight with it and give them -1 weapon skill.
Yep.
You have a couple of Nurgling units, so you give them the additional -1 to be hit. It is very good. I mean, you also generally want the extra save if you can, but you know, with Death Shrouds, you're already getting AP2 damage, so it's fine. You don't need the extra AP nearly as much.
Right. I think I have 18 Death Shroud. I know I have 12.
I have 6 painted. I have to pick up another 12. I might not run all 18. I might just run 12. Because I also only have a Terminator Sorcerer and I have Typhus. Running a 3rd unit feels like a bit much to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't know. It just sounds fun. Like Death Strider is some of my favorite models in that range. So I'm
It's
happy
hard.
to run a bunch of them.
It's hard for me to justify an army with 18 models that only move 4 inches.
Right, that's the thing. How many points are they now for 6?
Oh, they're. I think they're like. I think they're still. I think 120 for 3. 1 second. No, 110 for 3. And 220
Holy
for
shit.
6. Yeah, they cost nothing. Not even 30 points a model.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Kind of wild.
Hey, you're getting completely obliterated here.
I didn't.
Engine power failure.
There you go.
Power cell to begin ignition sequence.
Oh, hello. Oh, no. Nope. We good? Be very careful not to cut the belly on those.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to argue with 220 points for 6 of those
For
guys.
6
though.
Death Shroud? Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
so durable.
Replace power cell to begin
Is it? It's
ignition
-1 to wound
sequence.
while there's a character in there, right? That's their.
-1 to wound if the strength is bigger than your toughness while they have a character leading. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, hold on. I'll check data slate and pull the list. Because there were 4 T-Whips for Death Guard this past weekend, which is amazing.
Oh,
So,
is that one guy in the Discord who said Death Guard whenever your top army? We had that bet going.
yeah. So yeah, this is a 5-0 list from Rumble on the Rivers GT, which technically placed second, but it was 3 5-0 players.
Ignition sequence.
Let's see, yeah. Icon Bearer, 3 Sorcerers and Terminator armor, Mortarion and Typhus, and he's running 4 units of Plague Marines, 2 Rhinos, Cultists, 3 units of Death Shroud, 20 Foxwalkers, and a unit of Nerdlings. So he puts a Terminator Sorcerer with each Death Shroud unit, Typhus with the Foxwalkers, and then he's running the Plague Marines have 1 Icon Bearer, and then it's just 4 units of 5 and 2 Rhinos.
Do you even bother putting the icon with the Plague Marines? You just like run it solo?
You could run it solo, but I don't see the value.
You just
Yeah,
throw
I
them
kinda-
out and get like that contagion out early.
Well, you run him because he's 45 points, right?
Right.
And you have 3 options at 45 points. And of those 3, he's better than the Plague Surgeon or the Noxious Blightbringer. So I think you still attach him to a unit.
Running ignition chamber. Please stand by.
Because he doesn't do that much by himself. And he gives his unit +1 OC. So you really want to have, like, OC3 squad.
Bullying.
Yeah, plus, giving your unit a 12-inch contagion range is much more useful than giving your model a 12-inch contagion range.
That's fair.
So
Yeah,
you can
early
spread
when they
six
changed the
models
contagion
out.
stuff, I was doing solo banner by ass. Because it was good just to run them out and then, like, contagion everything.
Yeah, I don't think you run solo ban. I think you run up to the unit of 5.
Yeah, it's fair. Death Guard is such a budget army now.
I know. Let's see. So that's 1. This is then. Let's look at Kipper's melee had 2 4-in-1 lists. So Brandon St. Pierre. This list was 2 Putrefiers and 2 Blightspawn and Typhus, and he was running 2 10-man bricks with double characters and Rhinos. 2 Spawn Cultists, 2 Destructors, 1 Death Shroud, 3 PVCs, and the Bloat Drone. So no Mortarion.
Interesting.
But I like this
Mortarion
list
went
a
down,
lot.
didn't he?
Yeah, Mortarion's like 300 points now. That's an absolute deal for Mortarion, given what he gives you.
Yeah.
And all like the Putrefier came down to 50, and the Putrefier is legitimately the best character in the game for his cost. Like when you consider that he gives you almost all of the benefits of an apothecary biologus with a
With fire
40 point
discipline?
enhancement,
Yeah.
Isaac, you
and he throws extra grenades, and that's way better than the OC8 nonsense.
Right.
Oddly, Ridrick, I don't think about the Land Raider. I don't think the Land Raider rates the Death Star at all. Without
Really?
Dark Pact, it doesn't. Oh, Norman.
So first I thought I was safe because someone was talking to me in an airlock, but
Nope.
I was wrong. Fine, I
Yeah,
copped to that.
no, Ridrick, it's too many points for an army that wants to go cheap on stuff, and it's just it doesn't have enough firepower is the big problem. Like
Yeah.
if you don't have Dark Packs, Land Raiders feel real threadbare on the firepower.
4 las cannons will not take out much.
No, and you can just do more, like, especially for the amount of points it costs. You just bring other stuff, teleport your Terminators, and it's fine. All right, let's see. So that was 1 4-in-1 list. Oh right, this one was wild. Ian Harris was the other Death Guard 4-in-1 from the event. Lord of Irrelets, 3 Defilers.
Hell yeah, hell yeah,
This
hell
one
yeah.
this one does pack a Land Raider, 3 Predator Destructors, 2 units of Death Shroud, and then 3 Bloat Drones. It is heavy on the vehicles.
Yeah, big one.
Triple Defilers is bonkers.
That's kind of wild, yeah.
I'm never even gonna test this list because I
Yeah,
have
no, I
8
mean, like,
I painted one Iron Warriors Defiler back in like 2008, and I have a bag with like 3 more in it in various stages of assembly. They're never getting assembled. It's just they're never getting finished because it's just not. It's not a good model, and its rules aren't very good.
yeah, I mean, I have 3 of the old, like, Forge Worlds Plague Hulks sitting in my closet right now, and I love that model. I adore that model. It'll never get me.
Alright, let's see. One more.
What the fuck? What stopped me from moving? Okay. Okay, I need to stop dying.
See, that's.
They made me pick up all these shitty guns and replace my ammo with shitty ammo.
Oh, Don Husan had a good 4-in-1 showing.
Oh.
With yeah, he lost round 1 though, but this is from Battle Against Breast Cancer Arizona. Let's see what he was running. Love Don, he's great. Lord of Virulence, Typhus, 2 Spawn, Triple Defilers. That's a Don list.
That's
right
definitely
there.
a Don. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna
Yep.
say, he always runs some, like, bullshit.
Double Destructors, 18 Death Shroud, and a Knight Despoiler.
Despoil. What's on the despoiler?
Double Gatling Cannon, which makes sense. If you're running extras, if you're running -1 save, the double Gatling Cannon is fair.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
2 heavy Dark Flamers and Ruin Spear Rocket. This is a pure stat check list.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, double Despoilers, double Despoiler Gatling Cannons is so good. Because you are throwing out 36 shots at AP -3.
Yeah.
That is stupid strong.
Isaac,
That's
you
great.
disable the tram lockdown from engineering. I'll open up the bridge station. Meet me there. We need to work on this together.
And then, let's see. So that one was 4-in-1. Were there any others? Nah, those are the big ones. There's one here from a Russian event, it looks like. Don't know how much stock I put into that.
Yeah, it's one of those weird metas.
Nikolai Strahov. 3 Blight Spawn and a Tallyman. 30 Plague Marines. Okay. Hellbrute, Land Raider, Land Raider, Land Raider. Oh, this is Redrick's list right here. Triple Land Raiders and double Predator Destructor. God, Norman, remember when you were like, I'm not that bad, JD
I
was
wasn't.
wrong, and then you
I don't know
came
what
in here and ate shit?
I think what
Greg
happened.
Greg was right. Rip and piss.
Yeah, I think what happened is they made me pick up 2 bad guns and gave me ammo for it instead of giving me plasma cutter ammo.
Yeah, we'll blame the systems.
If I had a plasma cutter ammo, I'd be fine. I just have no
I
space.
get it. What I'm hearing is that you aren't adaptable.
Correct, you got it. That's why I stopped playing Death Guard.
I mean, yeah, no, that's definitely a good career move for you, given unless you were struggling.
Not that I was struggling, just I wasn't having a time.
Yeah, because you were struggling.
I don't think I was. I really didn't, but...
You were always saying stuff like, "How do you beat X? I don't know how it's possible." And
Oh
we'd be
yeah,
like-
no, running into holes, it was always an issue.
And we'd be like, "Simply kill them with grenades." You were like, "That's not possible. No one's ever done
No
that."
one's ever done that.
Isaac, you did it. The Ishimura's moving again.
No thanks to whoever sabotaged the fuck out of these engines.
You bought us time to figure it out. Autopilot's taking us into geostationary orbit.
That's not true. I have interest in CSM. Like, I'm running Night Lords the Grand Narrative. I just don't... Like, they're fine. I just don't personally like Dark Pacts because I roll very badly for them. Like, every time I Dark Pact, I roll a 4. And that is not a sustainable way to play a faction that needs the Dark Pact early enough. But yeah, I'm literally painting a Night Lord's Rhino right now as we do the speak. So, like, I'm still in it for Chaos Space Marines, but it's also like building a tournament Chaos Space Marines army for me right now requires building a whole new army. Like, even the Night Lords I'm building for Atlanta, a lot of the pieces are there, like the Rhinos for Renegade Raiders Detachment, and I'm working on some more rubrics and the Masters of Executions, but I already have the entire Death Guard range painted, and then some, and I have the entire Thousand Suns range painted, so like, if those are good, I can run those. But, you know, if I run the Night Lords, it won't be to be competitive so much as it'll be to win Best Painted, because my Night Lords are fantastically painted. The big problem with Death Guard are it's very difficult to win Best Painted, especially at big events with Death Guard. Unless you do something really out there and go very colorful with them, most paint judges do not really rate Death Guard, or you don't get judged favorably if your army is like drab colors and like darker. You get points more for having really bright colors on your armies and lots of like flashy standout stuff like OSL, which works great for my Thousand Suns. Like, there's a shitload of OSL in that army. Death Guard not so much, because I'm not taking plasma guns, so there aren't many opportunities to use it. So, and there aren't a ton of opportunities to freehand Death Guard, because most of the models do not have large, flat, open surfaces to paint freehand on to begin with. So I do a lot of fun conversions, but my job with Death Guard when I'm painting them, I'm trying to make the models look gross and wet. And that doesn't necessarily translate to the kind of paint jobs that judges are looking for. So, and look, my Death Guard are not my best painted army anyway, but even if they were, it would be a struggle to get them into best painted at most competitions. Oh yeah, I mean, I won best painted a bunch of Asgard RTTs, but like, the Asgard crew, while they are getting better, RTTs are usually not the hardest events to win best painted at, partly because a lot of times people are bringing half-painted models or half-painted armies because they're testing stuff out or they're still building something for a GT. So it's, you know, I don't think I've been to an Asgard RTT yet that I didn't win best painted at. I think the only one I didn't win best painted at, it was because I didn't have my own army, wasn't finished. But at the same time, like, you know, it's a little bit different with those events than like a big GT.
Yeah. I mean, like, only reason I made Showcase at Nova for AOS was because my Nurgle is very bright. It's like teal with bright green and yellows. Like,
no, I'm finding out is Captain Snowball actually Dan?
I have no idea.
Station lockdown.
I don't know how I would know that.
Usually Dan's running the events and handing out the best painted award at Asgard.
Mining. Bridge. Oh, I fight the first boss.
Okay, go fight the first boss.
I'm going to. I bought 70 plasma cutter ammo and put away all my other guns. So.
Simply sell them for parts. But yes, Captain Snowball, I agree. whoever that weird stranger who gave me those Asgard RTT best painted prizes is, they are a swell and handsome gentleman.
Man, I'm thinking about 18 Deathstrand now. Kind of love that.
I might end up doing it just because it's, it's the absolute max I could field in the army, and it won't take me long to paint them. But man, I don't want to paint 12 Death Shroud just for the one team's event,
I mean, just run that.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know when Death Guard Codex is happening, but I feel like it's not that far away. All this talk about good stuff coming for Chaos in 2025.
So they say.
Yeah, well, the summer of Chaos has been a long time coming, I hear.
It's so fucked that Imperial Knights are on the roadmap, but Chaos Knights aren't.
I think that's hilarious, actually.
That they've never not released together, right?
The only thing funnier than that, no, that's not true. Chaos Knights, when they released initially, was by themselves.
Oh, really? Was it after Imperial Knights had existed, though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because Imperial Knights came out, and then no, I can't borrow Joel's Death Shroud. I don't borrow other people's models. That's crazy. No offense to Joel, but I do the work myself on that one. It's Imperial Knights came out and in 7th edition, and they did a single pamphlet PDF for a Chaos Knight because it was a Forge World conversion kit.
Right.
And it was pretty rad because it had a 5-up demon save, but it didn't have the ion shields to rotate. Mm-hmm. And then in 8th edition, Imperial Knights got a codex, and they did Renegade, which was the book that introduced, they did a small pamphlet for Chaos Knights, where they only had that's where they introduced, armatures for Chaos Knights, and it was just to get you by, one big knight, one little, into the little knight's rules. And they had 2 enhancements, or 2 stratagems, and one was rotate ion shields, and the other one was reroll all hits for a unit shooting something on an objective. And they was great because the armatures for Chaos Knights were fantastic. I ran them at Nova in 2018. Then it was an absolute steal to get 2 big knights. You got 2 big knights and some terrain for the price of 1, basically.
That was the one that had the, what were they called? I forget what the name of the game is, but that knight versus knight mini game.
Yeah, which I think is actually a neat little game, but never did enough with it. And so they did end up publishing little expansion rules for it in White Dwarf. I've ended up collecting those.
You're right.
Because we used them a teeny bit for the joust, which
Yep.
was a cool idea I'd like to revisit, but
Yeah, it kind of fizzled out.
yeah.
Pod 47 launched.
I worked with him for years. Johnston, too. At least she was spared becoming a monster.
We're gonna fix this, Hammond. For them.
God, so much Warhammer design work I want to do.
Remake lost in the first round. Tragic.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that if I were you.
Yeah.
I can hold this position for a while. No
Yeah, and so then about 6 to 8 months after that, we got the Codex Chaos Knights, and that introduced basically Knight Tyrants, and that was when we got the Despoiler and the Rampager, and Chaos Knights got their own kits for the first time.
Okay.
Here. All I can tell is the ADS power routing is shot.
Also, can we point out how funny it is that there's an actual Abominant list that went 4-1 last weekend? I love that more than anything else, just because of how much of a troll it is to you in particular.
Specifically, it's just
Yeah.
me.
It's so good.
I mean, we talked about it the other night, but my opinion on it is it's a discount Rampager list, and I think that the list doesn't need the extra sticky and would be better served by having a Rampager. I think it would have performed the same, if not better, with a Rampager in that list.
The company
I hear you, but counterpoint. That guy got the T-Whip and you did not.
Correct. Yes, there are much better Chaos Knights players than me.
You'll have full access. I found a CEC executive key card.
Though there was a time when that wasn't the case. I was like
And you upgraded yours
9 ITC last year
Just in case.
for Chaos Knights. I think mostly because like most people don't get 6 games with them.
I heard something up there. Something big.
This year is less good. I looked today.
Hmm?
I just haven't been playing 40k a lot. I have only 4 games on record right now.
You
Or
mean
not 4
events?
games, 4 events, yeah. And a lot of them are RTTs. But I've got Hammer at the end of the year. Scott really wants me to go do GT in Maryland in 2 weeks. Which I might. But if I do, I'm going to run Imperial Knights probably.
Coward.
It's just so much more fun, man. Stratagems?
Yeah, no,
I don't know if you knew this, but some of the indexes, they have these abilities you can use your CP for. That's like not tank shot.
Why would you want to use your CP for anything but tank shot?
You see, I said the same thing, but there's some pretty good stuff in there.
I'm not seeing it.
The thing that gets my goat the most about the whole Imperial Knights Chaos Knights thing is that, like, ostensibly, the whole point is that Imperial Knights are, like, focused on bigs and army-wide buffs and whatever, and, like, Chaos Knights are more individualistic and, like, you can lean into dogs a lot better. Imperial Knights currently do all armigers way better than Chaos Knights do. And Canis Rex is the best solo model in the game.
I mean, I agree with you on Rex. I disagree on dogs.
Squires do so. Having the reroll on the Warglaive makes them more consistent than Brigands are against most of the targets Brigands want to be shooting with their thermal lance. And then Squire's duty makes what are they called? Helverins where they need to get.
I mean, I understand what's there. I disagree that that makes them better than War Dog. Because the War Dog units and data sheets are much better.
I think they're different. I don't know that they're better. The reroll does a lot. Like, Imperial Knights, if you're doing all smalls, can't hang in mana. They can't do it. Whereas Chaos Knights, you have the Carnivore, so you can, like, kind of bully. They don't like getting punched, but you can punch pretty well. But I mean, like, I would run Canis and then a bunch of Armigers, and I think that's a great list. This is the boss fight, by the way. This is the entire boss fight. Yeah, Renrick, damage 3 or damage 4 if you can kill that warlord. Also, don't sleep on strength 13 thermal lances.
Yeah, that doesn't make that much of a difference.
Oh, so I will tell you, T12 is a big problem for the Chaos Knights.
T12 isn't real.
It's out there.
No, it's not real and it can't hurt me.
Renrick, no, it's not, because in the mirror match you're playing against C10.
Security request retrieved. Security, come in. We've been boarded. I repeat.
Oh, in the mirror, like Imperial Knight, yeah, not Imperial Chaos. Yes, that is a big deal. That is how you kill Canis, is you put 3 Warglaives in front of them and then you just melt them to death.
The marker must be delivered to the church, whatever the cost.
God's sakes, Ben, listen to yourself. The Ishimura is in crisis, you've cut us off.
By Maritime Law Article 5469, I, Dr. Terrence Kine, hereby declare Captain Benjamin Matthias unfit for duty.
Ben, you're yourself.
My Let me help you.
Traitors, get your hands off me! This is my ship!
Atrium elevators are now online.
Oh my God, you.
Clearance confirmed.
You saw I was trying to help him.
I don't have that much to do left on this Rhino, and I'm pretty excited about it.
We have to take you in. I can't.
What's left after the Rhino?
Trying to get a hold of me.
What?
What's left after the Rhino for the Grand Narrative?
Oh, there's some stretch stuff. So it's like I basically have to finish one more unit of Legionnaires or Legionaries, but they're not. I only have 4 models in that unit to do, so it's not in like a bad place.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
I want to get a Land Raider done, and I've got it primed up and assembled. So it's pretty close. I would like to get another unit of Black Legion rubrics done, because the idea is that Karavak, my warlord from last year, who's a Black Legion sorcerer in service to Abaddon, he failed, and he's kind of on the run trying to figure out. He failed in last year's narrative because like the side failed.
Right.
And so he's looking for a way to get back into Abaddon's good graces, and while he does that, he's fallen in with this Night Lord's Warband. So he's like advising them at the moment, and that's why they're Night Lords, but all of the rubrics will be his, so they're all Black Legion rubrics.
Gotcha.
And that also allows me to use the Black Legion rubrics I've already painted.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so it gives me a story reason for having them be different paint scheme. But yeah, the idea is that I have 1 Land Raider, 1 unit of 4 Legionaries left. I have 5 rubrics, and then it's kind of like I have a few different stretch things. Oh, I have a Vindicator that I'm working on, so I need a Vindicator for the list, and I have that about 30% done. But I'm just kind of sick right now painting Rhinos.
Right.
And then there's a couple other stretch things. I want to get a unit of Cultists done that are just for this list. But otherwise, that's it. I'm in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, you got.
I've got the Helldrake. I've got the 3 bikes. I've got the Sorcerer on bike, the Jump Pack Lord, the Regular Lord, Master of Executions, squad of Legionaries, Chaos Terminator. I got a squad of Terminators, and that's like a pretty good. That's like most of the army right there. So, and if I don't get the Cultist painted, I have a set I can take. I want to get a set of the Blackstone Cultist painted up.
How many points are you bringing?
Probably 2,500. Just so I could swap a few things in and out, but I'm not going to go that high above it. Right. It's really more about like, because the idea is that I'll have, it doesn't really matter much. I'll have an all-encompass army in most games. You'll have a few characters in case I got to do character stuff. We'll have a ton of transports and mobility, so it can just kind of go anywhere and do anything. We'll have a few anti-tank units. But the Land Raider and the Vindicator give me some pretty solid punch in that regard.
Right.
I might look at a unit of obliterators as much as if I really feel like I need it, I'll just bring the 2 Black Legionnaires I got.
Yeah, this 1,000 Suns driving this. Or rubrics, I guess.
More just that it's like, oh yeah, those guys made it off the planet with
right.
with Karavak there, so fine. It's fine. Just be cool about it.
That guy's super mad at me for some reason. We're about to do the most improved segment of the game. Back when you had to do like a rail shooter, like not even rail shooter, just like a turret section.
Yeah, I didn't love the asteroid shooter.
And now it's like a trench run. It's actually a really fun segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rinrick, me too, in a very different way, though. More in a, oh shit, I gotta get on that way.
A recording? Huh. Must be the marker they dug up.
So it is the same. That marker. That's the symbol of the Church of Unitology.
Didn't take you for a believer, Isaac.
My mother was. But if they found
Oh yeah, they add this like backstory about his mom in this one, also, which makes it make a little more sense.
That Unitology's onto something?
Unitology
Gives him a
full of
stake in
shit.
the game.
Forget it.
That's done. Now time to dust this thing with a light dusting of.
Level 3
I
security
guess
clearance
dust.
required.
Oh, okay.
When you say light dusting, like Andrew Corbin light dusting?
No, it's not. It's not going to cover the entire model and make it look red. God, that would be insane. What kind of weirdo would do that? No, this is more just to give it some quick weathering.
It was so upsetting watching him, because like he's in another Discord, and like I finally got to see like some in progress shots of Sons of Ash models, and seeing them all highlighted or whatever before the dusting is like,
Oh my God, it's tragic.
it's the
It's
worst.
tragic what he does to those models.
He puts so much work in that doesn't show.
Yeah, because he just covers it all with that red weathering powder.
He's gotten better about it, to his credit.
Yeah, no, he's realized. So I remember the first time I saw his models, I was like, oh, those are pretty good. I like the gray that you're doing. And the next time I saw them, they were like all red, and I was like, what did you do? No, man, just no.
This isn't it, I promise.
Yeah.
I love the big horn musical sing when there's a small baby crawling at you.
Mm-hmm.
What is hitting? Oh, he's I suck.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Picked the exact wrong time to do it.
Hate to see it do it.
Oh, another one. Ow.
Alright. I think I'm done here in about like 10, 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, when I hit the next save point.
Makes sense. Cool.
I think it's just a trench run.
Yeah, fair.
I don't think I picked up the power node of the other one. Oops.
Transferred from electrical systems to ATS cannons.
Okay, I'm seeing a power reroute from the electrical systems.
Just watch the outlets. The grid's unstable.
That's 2. One more system and we'll have power for the ADS.
I like there's one more system, so we can save it for next time.
Alright, makes sense.
Alright, save point. Oh, Rinrick, you made House Gloma way better. That's the reason I'm playing Imperial Knights now, is because Shadebinder is dead. Because it makes more sense now for the big knights to start making the scene again now that Molchandra lived and Shadebinder's not in control.
Unintended consequences.
Well, the lore for my faction has always been that the Shadebinder is how all the war dogs get made, because they're all demon possessed, where the suits themselves are, at most, there's like an equivalent of a demon prince inside, and otherwise just like a noble. So with Molchandra back, now it's just, she's like getting all of the scattered nobles from across the galaxy and collecting them back into the fold.
I think that's best spreading.
So Renrick, really, you doomed everyone.
I mean, only if you win a bunch of games, right?
I've been winning.
All right.
We had our league, and they made me go to the intro bracket. I went 4-0. 4-0 with a points differential of 200 VP over my 4 games.
Wild that they disrespected you that way.
There's like decay, and I took some time off to focus on like Ghoulhammer and other stuff.
The right move.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had some time.
Always correct.
So I signed up for this one. Yeah, you start from the beginning. Yeah, Remake do that. They're very cool, and they should exist in more places than just my shelf. Where is... There it is. Right behind that musical sting.
It's fine. You don't need to investigate who that guy was.
We'll find out next time.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We're going to sign off here. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
This is a good stream.
Yeah.
See you in the next one.